And two women have been charged with vandalism of a Captain Cook statue in Sydney. After spray painting "No Pride in Genocide" and "Sovereignty Never Ceded," the women were arrested by police shortly after a 4 a.m. at the weekend. Police argued against bail, but it was given with strict conditions. The women could have no contact with each other and were banned from going into Hyde Park, where the statue is located. Robbo, is this the beginning of the same anti-statue violence we've seen overseas?
Yeah, I think it could be. There's always been rumblings about this that's going to happen, especially since we do have so many statues to people with very dubious pasts and very dubious experiences when they were alive. Look, this is what happens when something like this ferments and goes underneath society for years, decades, centuries, and people are going to start getting angry and people are going to start doing these things. What I'd like to see actually is, I don't know that I want to see the Captain Cook statue removed, but I want to see far more big statues commemorating, wonderful Indigenous warriors and Indigenous Australians who have, throughout history, have been a big part of what this country is today. The idea that we just have people who, like I said, very, very concerning backgrounds and what they did when they were alive. I understand that's, Captain Cook is a big part of our history.
There is historical context, Robbo. No one is saying that, look, there were atrocities against the Indigenous Australians when white settlers came to this country. There is no doubt about that. But we have to be aware of that. We have to learn about it. It doesn't mean we should erase all of our history, surely.
No, that's exactly what I'm saying. We shouldn't erase all of our history, but I want to see more, more contact and more, visions of all of these wonderful Indigenous Australians who have helped. Yes, there was absolutely genocide when white people settled, but there's been abuses against Indigenous people ever since. Like that, it's never stopped. And that's why I think we're starting to see people go, well, you know what? There's a big bloody statue of Captain Cook. That's fine. That's part of the history. But where's the warriors? Where are these wonderful Indigenous people who have given us so much? Why aren't they there? And I think the anger is only going to grow stronger and stronger if people like Scott Morrison puts their head in the sand and say, we don't have slavery here. We've never done that. We're not as bad. Rubbish. It's only going to fan the flames.
So, Robbo, what about the fact that a member of the Greens Party, someone very high or involved in the Greens Party, was involved with the tearing or the defecation of this statue? Doesn't that bode a big problem for the Greens in that, this is a party that was a real alternative to Labor? When I think about the early days when we had the Democrats and the Greens, they really did seem to be middle ground. Like they were left, of course, but they were middle ground that could get things done, and Australians trusted them. No one's going to trust the Australian Greens now. They just seem too radical.
I disagree. I think this speaks perfectly to their base. The people who vote Greens and believe in what the Greens portray at a parliamentary level.
This is why they're becoming a minor party with no political influence, because Australians are looking at that and going, too radical for me. And I do believe Australians want an alternative to Labor and Liberal and the coalition, but they can't go to the Greens because the Greens are too radical and don't speak to Middle Australia.
Well, I think you're really painting a very big brush here, because it was a Green staffer. It wasn't a parliamentary person who had been voted in. It wasn't a member of Parliament. It wasn't anyone high up in the Green Party. It was a Green Party staffer.
Okay. As a representative of the Greens.
No, I did not say that. I said it speaks perfectly to their base. That's what I said. I don't think that it's going to cause Greens any harm within the people who vote for Greens at all. And that I stick to that point.
I would say when it comes to these statues, when we find out that, Captain Cook did terrible things and the statue is still being held up as a landmark that we should hold up into morale, I think that would be really hard for people to understand. Do I think it's a good idea the way these people are protesting by defacing it? No, I don't agree with that. Saying we should be smarter with the ways in which we want to change the narrative for people. And, with James Cook, now that we know what we know, should there be a statue in a park like that? I don't think so. But I still don't condone the defacing of it.
What are your thoughts then if we had a statue of Captain Cook, but we removed the plaque that said, he's this wonderful man, and actually said, this man did this? But he also did all of these things that actually really affected the people who were already living here. And it's kind of an updated and more factual plaque. What would
I
you think
don't
about
have
that?
a problem with that. I don't have a problem with saying on one plaque he was celebrated as, his achievements, but having a section that illustrates, and now as history looks back on him, we do not accept or appreciate these elements of his personality. I actually have no dramas with that. What I have a problem with is people taking the law into their own hands and deciding for the rest of the country what should go on. And defacing public property is not standing up for the rights of what you're trying to fight for. Get it done in a better way. Be smart about it. Get petitions, get organised, whatever it takes. Have a debate on social media. Do it the right way rather than just
that
taking
doesn't
the
do
law into your own
anything.
hands.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. All right.
Well, what's
I
wrong
can
with
see
that?
we're wrapping.
Hot tub.
No, I think it's fine. But at the same time, would you say that to the people who pulled down the statue of Saddam Hussein? No, come on, guys.
Different
Let's
situ-
leave that up there for a little
When
bit.
you're overtaking a dictator, I think there's a little bit difference and all bets are off.
Yeah, but-
there is a difference. There is a difference.
Yeah, I get, but it's also this case of there is a growing sentiment in this country that we do not understand or appreciate or accept or acknowledge how murky and how awful our history is. So maybe sometimes we do need people who come along and spray paint a few things onto a statue to kind of start waking us up, to bring us back to the conversation.
It's the Ben, Rob and Robbo, Ben, Rob and Robbo, Ben, Rob and Robbo.